Good evening, everybody, and welcome, welcome, welcome. It is time for day three. Oh, that nail a little long. No, I don't need to cut my nails yet. All right, day three sumo summary. Sumo summary show day three. I'm drinking a little green tea here, a mommy green tea. It's one of my preferred ones. Uh, not, I don't want to say it's not as bitter. It's just got a very smooth flavor. I really enjoy it. And where's the indicator on here? Oh. Maybe it's not true on this one. Okay, never mind. I'll look at the other bottle and tell you tomorrow. Uh, so let's just dive into it. The big news today, as Okonomi is looking over my shoulder, is the withdrawal of well, I still call him Ozeki Takakesho, right? So we'll get to that in a moment. And the other big news, once you watch the matches, if you haven't done so already, is the decision or lack of decision in the final match of the day. So let's jump into it, and I'm going to share my screen here. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. I had to go to the doctor today. I haven't been feeling that well lately, and I just decided, yeah, I better go see what's up. And he gave me some medicine, so hopefully I'll be on the mend. It really didn't feel well. Uh, well, I'm not going to go too much into it, but yeah. So I got to. Whenever you go to the Japanese doctor, they really love to prescribe pills. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some of it's just like Tylenol in generic Japanese form, something for my throat, something for my stomach. And yeah, hopefully I'll be feeling better in the next day or so. But that doesn't stop the sumo. And so I actually got to come home early today. Uh, I went to the doctor and then I was just like, I can't go back to work. I don't have COVID or anything. It's nothing contagious. So I was able to watch pretty much sumo from 4 to 6 p.m. live, which I don't normally get to do. So that's reflected on the Patreon page today, which actually, we can start over there. Um, I I'm purposely using a different browser today because I didn't want to be in the browser I normally am with all my sumo stuff in it and where I'm the Patreon creator. This is just another way. So if you go to just to patreon.com, type in search for sumo Jason, and then my page comes up, you'll notice that after it asks you to choose your membership, there's one free video you can watch. Okay. Now some of these say join to unlock, right? And well, all of them should say that because you have to join for $1. This one does not. And that's because when we get to it, I just felt like this is the one video where people are going to want to see my coverage with the NHK. What do I want to call it? NHK slow motion and different angles and stuff you don't quite get on a Bema. So I'm hoping that nothing happens because I've made this public. So we'll see. We'll leave it up for a day or so and see how it goes. But let's look over the course of the whole day first, and then we'll get to that when we get to that. But so just really quick, yeah, 9 matches that I was able to put up from today. So that's a good haul for me for a weekday, especially. All right. So matches and results. We'll start down in Juryo as we often do. Uh, let's see. Takeda Fuji is 3-0. Kaio is 3-0. Oshomi is 3-0 at Juryo 14. Good. Both of the Juryo 14s are undefeated so far. That's great news for those guys down near the edge. Asakoru 3-0. Really like Asakoru. I'm rooting for him. Hakuoho rebounds to go to 2-1 after a day 2 loss. And Shishi loses for the first time today. Chiyoshima, a stalwart of the upper division, top division, gets a win to go to 3-0 at Juryo 1. Beat the other Juryo 1, Ono Show. And Ono Show took a kind of a bad tumble. They showed the replay. I wasn't watching sumo by then, but they showed the replay during the regular broadcast. And yeah, I'm hoping he's okay and he doesn't have to pull out of the tournament tomorrow. Okay, so just we'll see in a moment when I show the leaderboard because it's after 3 days you can kind of start to have a leaderboard. There's a lot of guys on it. But a bunch of guys are still undefeated, and that's great. As we move into the top division, let's look at what happened here on Tuesday, day 3. Kitsunawaka got a win over Nishiki Fuji. Togi Hayate, this will be the last time somebody has to come up from Juryo probably for a while, because now that Takayasu is pulled out of the tournament, they'll be back to an even number of top division Rikishi. But he no, he won. He got his first win over Shirokuma, the former Juryo man making his debut, who's only gotten one win so far. Onokatsu got his first win. He's making his debut in the top division. Beat Takayasu. Yeah. So I filmed that match thinking, I haven't really shown Takayasu yet. He's undefeated. Let's see him kind of school the youngster. And it was a good match. But Onokatsu came out on top. Takara Fuji, 2-1 by beating Ryuden. Hokuto Fuji, 2-1 by beating Kimbozan, who has yet to win. He's one of our guys at 0-3. Nishikigi gave Bushozan his first loss. Sadanaumi's 3-0. Tamawashi, yay! So Tamawashi finally passed the guy that was one ahead of him, and then he equaled him on day 2, and now here on day 3, he's passed him, and he's all alone at the top of the record for most consecutive matches in the history of modern sumo, with 1,631, I think it is. The match is on the channel. The match is on the Patreon channel, so if you want to go and check it out. But a stunning achievement that you can't really, I don't think will be replicated anytime soon. I wonder who has started wrestling, because Tamawashi started wrestling in 2004, and this record is the result of 20 years of not missing a day of work. You know what I mean? In the Honba show. And so never sitting out once, and keeping himself free of injury for basically 20 years. And he's also going up on, the guys in the top division too. But anyway, who might have started, say, 5 years later in 2010 that's had 15 years of consecutive? I wonder who's kind of like maybe has the potential to equal this, or is there like nobody? Because you think of all the greats, a Haruma Fuji, a Hakuho, Asashoru, that have been in the past 20 years, a Kakeru, even Kiseno Sato, who was known for being very consistent as an Ozeki, and very missing very few days, and then the terrible tragedy that befell him as he became a Yokozuna, and he had to sit out, and then was only Yokozuna for like 8 basho because of injury. So congrats to Tamawashi on that, and his first win. So he got a great round of applause by the fans in the Kokugikon today. They never stand up. The Japanese fans don't give a standing ovation, and part of that's it's just not in the culture, but part of it's they're sitting down on the floor. So to get all the way up, maybe for all of them, it would be a little difficult. But it felt like that. It felt like they were giving him a standing O, with the number, the level of his applause on the applause meter was high. Okay, then we had Midori Fuji getting his first win. Endo is 3-0 by beating Oshoma. Wakataka Kage, second win here over Gonoyama. Shiranaumi beat Meisei. Ura, his second win by beating Koto Shoho. Shodai. Shodai looked good today. I watched the Shodai match, and I put it up on the channel. 3-0, and the Shodai that cares is showing up. So yeah, don't count him out. Shonana Umi is one of our 0-3 guys. Unfortunately, not a win yet. Daisho did get his first win at Komusubi by beating Mitakeumi. Onosato maintains his unbeaten streak by beating Oho. Hirada Umi, the Komusubi, is somebody I'm getting more and more interested in as I watch him wrestle more and more. He's really tenacious, and quite fun to watch. He beat Abi today. So Takakeisho did pull out of the tournament, and that means he has 0 wins, so he'll have 0 wins, 3 losses, and 12 absences. And that means he will plunge down the Banzuke to Maegashira, double-digit Maegashira. Let's just say that. Maegashira 10, Maegashira 11. So if he can come back in November, he'll at least stay in the top division. But if he can't come back in November because of the extent of his injury, he'll go down to Juryo. And that would mean possible reflection for him, whether it's time to hang it up. He's made no mention of retirement or anything, so all of that is speculation at this point. But clearly, he's had a rough go of the past 2 or 3 basho that led him to get demoted to Sekewake, and now in a position where he just can't compete, and it's to do with his neck and his spine and a disc or something. They have mentioned possible surgery to fix the problem, but see, in sumo, when that happens, you have to pull out of tournaments. And every time you pull out of a tournament with 0 wins, you get demoted heavily. So let's say he had to sit out. He elects to have the surgery this year in 2024, and he has to sit out November, January, March. Let's say he can come back in May of next year. So he's had to sit out 3 tournaments. He would go down definitely to the 3rd tier, maybe even the 4th tier division. So does he at this point with his status and, does he want to be not even a sekitori anymore, just a regular rikishi with no special privileges, working his way back up? Now, Terunofuji did it, Tochinoshin did it, Asanoyama did. I mean, some of these guys can do it. Does he have that in him? Is that something he wants to do? Does he want to retire, as an ozeki slash, sekewake who, obviously it wasn't like he doesn't have the desire or he was just in a bad slump. I mean, it's a medical problem, right? But if he chooses to address it, does he then want to have to come back and fight his way back into the top division and things like that? So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Of course, a lot of that decision making will happen in the off season, after the basho ends, before the November tournament starts, and he has to make a decision whether he's going to show up to compete in November, and what all that means. So, we'll try to keep you abreast of that situation as much as we can. All right. So bad news for him. But we definitely now, he's not going to obviously bounce back to Ozeki. So we definitely only have 2 Ozeki now going forward, Hoshoru and Kotozakura. And do we have 1 Yokozuna? Some of you are like, hey, I don't see Terunofuji making a comeback. I see Terunofuji wrestling at least 1 more tournament. Maybe it'll be November and he'll just finish out the year. But I don't see him retiring before he gives it 1 more shot. But we'll see. Diabetes is no laughing matter. It's a serious problem, and if he's losing weight and he can't just get up the strength to even like practice, let alone compete, then that's something that has to be addressed, and that would be a real shame. Okay, then we had the final 3 matches of the day. Kirishima quietly amassing some nice wins here, gets another one today. Nawate Dashinage win over Takanosho. The M1 is now 1-2. Atami Fuji fought Hoshoru, and that was a corker of a match. And Tommy Fuji got the win. Hoshoru now 1-2. So a shaky start for him. And Kotozakura, I want to say, hey, he's undefeated. That's great. I picked him to win the tournament. But I got to tell you guys, I was watching it live, and me and Murray Johnson, the commentator for the NHK, were both just like shocked that not only did the worst Gyoji in the top division, I don't hate, that's a strong word. I really dislike the head Gyoji. He's just made some terrible calls in his old age and should have retired before. This is in fact his last tournament as the head Gyoji. He's 65, so he has to retire. But he's made some shockingly bad calls in the past 2 or 3 years. And this is just the cherry on top of all of that terribleness, because he has to point his paddle somewhere. I get that. And that it's not his fault that he indicated one direction that was wrong, and then nobody of the 5 judges sitting around the dohyo raised their hand to say, hey, let's at least talk about this. Because that's like his fallback, right? He might make a bad choice because he has to instantly decide who won or not. but then he should be like, he should feel confident that if I make a shaky call, they'll come up and we'll talk about it, and maybe I'm wrong. They're not, they don't like to be wrong, but they'll overturn it or do a do-over, a Tori Naoshi, they'll have a rematch. But none of that happened today. And it's clear that Tobizaru won the match. But at the very least, there should have been a discussion after he pointed his Gumbai, his paddle, at Kotozakura as the winner. One of the judges ringside should have said, "Oh, really? Wait a minute. Okay. Well, I didn't see it exactly like you did, but let's at least talk about it." And there was no mono-e. So I don't know if that's Ozeki bias, if they honestly, the way they saw it's so clear in the replay. And NHK kind of shied away from showing the replay a bunch of times by showing other end of, it was the final match of the day, right? So they started to show the the bow twirling and the audience leaving and blah blah blah. But they did show some replays, and it's in the video I posted. So what I did was, let me share, sorry. Is Patreon is doing some weird stuff lately. So one thing they're doing is you can make any individual post buyable. Buyable. Is that even a word? Did I just make it up? Meaning I can put I could sell this one video for $5. I could just say, okay, anybody that wants to view this video, you can pay money just to see that one. You don't have to join my page, whatever, whatever. But that's stupid because you can watch every single video for the entire bus show for $1. So I'm not going to do that. Um, so I was like, well, I don't just want, members to be able to see this. I think like I said, I think other people are going to want to see the replay. So I went ahead, even though, it's NHK, I went ahead and made this one video public. And I'm hoping that there's no fallout of that, but I'm going to leave it up public for at least, now that you guys are watching the YouTube summary show, you'll know about it. You'll go over and probably watch it within the next 24 hours. For at least a day or two, I'll probably leave it public. So you should be able to go over. The link for this is down in the description in the Patreon page, but it's just patreon.com/sumojason. And you can click on this and watch it. It's 9 minutes. Because at the end, me and Murray are just stunned. And see what you think. I think it's certainly going to be controversial. Now, some of you will be like, well, what can they do? If you look at the replay and you know that they made the wrong call, I don't think anything happens. I think once that call is made and once nobody stood up, there's no mono-e, and it goes in the record books, I think you're done. There is no Tobizaru can't appeal and say, hey, it's clear I won this match. What are you guys going to do about it? It's just that's bad luck on the day. Now it'd be a black mark against this Gyoji perhaps, but he's retiring anyway. So yeah, I think it's going to be Kotozakura's win, and Tobizaru is just going to have to lump it. And see what you think. Watch it for yourself. See if you agree with me. Feel free to leave a comment on this video here on YouTube if you don't agree with me, and you go, no, I think blah 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 happened, but I think it's clear, and I think it, like I said, at the very least, they should have had a mono-e to discuss it, because yeah, because a lot of people were talking about there was a match on day 2, I think, where people were like, oh, so and so, was it the whole Shoru match? Somebody, and it was like clear that his heel had gone out, but it was kind of before the part where people were watching the replay. Like it had happened like 3 seconds earlier. And so sometimes it's like a little more hidden, but this one I think is pretty clear. So I'm not going to hit play here because I don't think Zoom handles you showing video within a share very well, but you can go watch it for yourself and see what you think. So that's public over there. You don't have to join Patreon. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is just go to the link, scroll down, and hit play on this one video. Okay? All right. So let's go back over and let's look at the leaderboard now. So Nobody else, I think, pulled out today. Yeah, just Takayasu. And yep. So that's it for people pulling out. So who are our leaders? Okay, so in the top division, we have one Ozeki at the top, and that's Kotozakura. Two Sekewake, Onosato and Kirishima doing well at 3-0. Then we have Shodai, Endo, and Satanoumi. So those are the 6 guys that are undefeated after 3 days. So we'll keep an eye on them as we go into, the end of the first 5 days. We got day 4 tomorrow and then day 5 on Thursday. See which one of them can stay undefeated to be 5-0. That's always a good benchmark. And then down in Juryo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys undefeated: Chiyoshima, Asukoru, Takerufuji, Kaio, and Oshomi. So 2 guys at Juryo 14 starting their September tournaments with undefeated records is great. We expect Takerufuji to do well. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the Yusho down there. But at Juryo 11, I don't know if that'll be enough to get him promoted all the way back up. He might have to wait and go like up to Juryo 1 in November and then start 2025 back in the top division. But it's just good that he's healthy and wrestling well. And then they give you the leaderboard. I mean, look at the leader, just huge leaderboard. Because these guys only fight 7 days, so it's like, just tons of people. But anyway, okay. I think that's it. So last thing we always do on the Sumo Summary Show is we look ahead to tomorrow. So let's see let's look down in Juryo real quick. Okay. So one of the leaders is going to fight Aoyama, and Aoyama needs those wins down at Juryo 13. The other leader down at Juryo 14 has Dai Seizan. He's a brand new wrestler in the top in the 2nd tier division. Takerufuji has Tomokaze. They've both been in the top division before. Asakoru has Shiden. Hakuoho has Tsurugisho. And Chiyoshima has Tamashoho. And Juryo 1 fighting a Juryo 2 here at the end. So all the Juryo action is now contained down in Juryo. As we jump up to the top division, nobody needs to be pulled up, at least until somebody else might have to pull out. Kitsunowaka against Karafuji. Let's see if we have... So 0-3 Kimbozan going for his first win against Ryuden. One of our leaders, Sadanoumi, going against Ichiyamamoto tomorrow. Endo, another leader, taking on Shiranoumi. Tamawashi, trying to even out at 2-2 against Midori Fuji, trying to do the same thing. Wakatake Kage versus Ura. I'll try to put that up on the channel. That's a fun matchup. Another winless Rikishi, Shonanoumi, trying to get his first win against Gonoyama. Shodai against Wakamoto Haru should be a fun matchup. The Komusubi has Oho. Kirishima against Mitakeumi. Onosato against Daisho. That's a fun matchup. Abi versus Takenosho. Yon. Kotozakura against Itami Fuji. He really had a great win against Hoshoru today. And Hoshoru trying to even out at 2-2 against the disappointed Tobizaru. I'm sure after he watches that replay, he'll be a lot of grumbling in his Heya. Who is he a stablemate with? Let's see. Daisho, the Komusubi, and Endo. So yeah, they'll all be grumbling. It's just it's one of those failures of adjudication, I guess you could say. And I don't think much will come of it. So you can grumble all you want, but I don't think it's gonna do anything. All right. So day 4 tomorrow. I'll be back at school, regular, coming home. I'll probably put up those matches that if you're watching over on Patreon, where I since I'm on my DVR, is I'm putting like 2 or 3 matches in one 8-minute video because the 10 minutes is the time limit, and I can kind of squeeze 3 matches together where I fast forward in between, and that way it's less for me to upload, and it's just easier for me to process at night when I'm trying to eat dinner and do stuff and do the dishes and do laundry or whatever you have to do in life. So I've been kind of doing that, using the advantage of the DVR, and people seem to like it. So, but today I was able to put up nine individual videos, and that's great. And coming into this weekend, I should have really full coverage day 7, day 8, day 9 is a national holiday, so I'll be home all day. All right. Thanks, guys. Linus says, we appreciate your views. Give us a thumbs up. And I will see you tomorrow for day 4 summary show. Okay, take care. Peace.